Hi, I'm Greg of the Real G-Pops Workshop. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I completed my ultimate mobile saw table on the heels of completing my ultimate mobile workbench, which is now my ultimate mobile outfeed table. So as per usual, this was made with some ingredients from the big box store, some leftovers from the ultimate workbench, some things I had laying around the shop, and plenty of creativity. It's definitely a one-off build. It is suited just for this shop. But there's plenty of ideas that if you want to steal something, feel free. So sit back, relax, and let me show you how I got this one done. Now that the legs have been... My miter gauge is set to 0, so I have a straight cut. I've already marked and measured. What I want to do is take out this section right here. So now it glides, it won't bind on here. You can achieve these same results using a dado, miter saw, circular saw, router, or any number of different methods. Sometimes you get lucky and get a fairly clean result with minimal cleanup. I repeat this cut on all 4 legs. And then once you clean them out, I chose to use a dull chisel. Get some sharp chisels. But when you sand it, clean it up, These are the forelegs upside down, but the cut itself came out quite nice. So now I'll start using some lap joinery for the top portion of the leg, which you saw was the lower portion. So I'm gonna have two pieces with a cut like this and two pieces that look like this. And then I figured it was time to put the adjustable feet on the bottom. So I used a fairly dull Forstner bit and an even duller drill bit, which I quickly threw away right after I put the fire out. So once everything was said and done, the adjustable feet fit in perfectly, and then it was time to move on to the next part, which meant pocket holes. So the way this is going to be joined together for the lower shelf support, I'm going to use pocket holes, and then those will fit into the lap joints that were created for the bottom and connect the legs. So this is a dry fit. Concept is coming together. It's looking the way I need it to look, and it should fit the way I need it to fit up against my outfeed table. So now I had to drill more pocket holes, because once I get the lower shelf into place, I need to put the upper shelf supports that the table saw will actually sit on. So I quickly batched out those. Drilled some pilot holes for the 3-inch screws that I used to connect the lower shelf support. At this point, I pulled out the track saw so that I could cut the bottom shelf, which is actually going to be a lower cabinet once I get it enclosed. So I notched out so that it would fit around the forelegs. I used 3/4 inch sanded plywood. Nice and snug. So now I had to cut some supports that would span the width of the table saw to support the upper shelf that the saw was going to sit on. Now with that done, we are cutting out the top shelf. It's a little persuasion. She fit like a glove. Today's build went late into the night. Well, not late, but it was dark.
The next day.
And of course, we woke up doing roundovers. Gotta soften those edges. Full transparency, there was a crack that I was aware of that I chose to fill with epoxy. Don't judge me. So the first level of underlayment is 1/2 inch plywood. Let's screw that down to the top. You ever met anybody that used way too much glue? Nah, me neither. So on top of this, we're going to put 3/4 inch plywood that will help bring it to the level of the table saw. And then I could just shim to make any adjustments that I need, but they would be minor. So I clamped down what will be the final top. I used some 23 gauge brad pin nails to hold it down in place. At this point, we want to check and see that it is square. I'm going to call that a win. So what you see me putting in now will never be seen. This will all be up under the 3/4 inch plywood that'll be on top. I like to hide any screws. It's just a personal preference of mine. So right now we're just working our way around the back, making sure everything is even, making sure that the support is securely screwed in. And there's that glue again. So at this point, we put the 3/4 inch plywood down, we clamp it, put some pin nails in it, and make our way around to the left side. Same process. The only thing significant about this side is we need to notch it out so that the rack and pinion of the saw would actually fit tight, but not hit the wood. And this finished top will be the plane that is level with the top of the table saw. So we clamp it, glue it, and hit it with some brads, with 23 gauge pins. And this is what the carcass is looking like at this point. Edges of the top are a little wide right now so that I could cut them so that they would match the outfeed table. So I'll be trimming those shortly. I measured twice so that I can cut once. Well, actually, I measured 3 times. I'm going to be putting red oak around the edges, 1 to match the outfeed table, and 2 just to make it a little more durable and hide the plywood. Why I chose to carry a 90-pound table saw? Beyond me. So at this point, we just set it on the side so we could finish our roundovers. I figured it was easier at this point. Now I had to make doors for the lower cabinet. I just grabbed some 3/4 inch plywood that I used for the shelf, measured the size that I needed. I had some hinges from an earlier project, so I'm gonna just use those for now. Just a heads up, sparks are about to fly. Literally. I had to adjust the hinges to fit this particular job. Little modification was needed. But with that done, you can see the doors are now on what will become the lower cabinet rather than just the shelf. I wanted to close this for a number of reasons. 1, just so you don't see what's up under there, and 2, just to help keep the dust and debris out. So I used pocket holes to attach the side of the enclosure. And then this is the upper enclosure. making sure it's nice and snug. And of course, the obligatory sanding. And this is what the carcass looks like at this point. The wheels are on, most of the frame is complete. I left majority of it open because at this point I wanted to stain and I didn't want to have to crawl all the way inside. This way I can just reach in from the sides and stain as needed. At this point, I'm going to put a round over on some red oak that I'm going to use to hide the end grain on the top shelf plywood. And this is what it looks like when it's in place. So once that's stained, it'll fit right in with the rest of it. So now that the majority of it is stained, it's going to fit in with the outfeed table, especially once I get the rest of the red oak trim around the top and enclose the sides and the back. So I had to drill some holes to get the dust collection hose so that it's enclosed and only comes out through the bottom of the table. Again, trying to keep it as clean and sleek as possible. Nice corner. So at this point, I'm doing a dry fit to verify that the height and the width are correct so that it fits snugly up against my outfeed table, which again was the ultimate workbench that was completed not too long ago. And at this point, I determined that once I put the red oak around the remainder of the top, the width is going to be just right because I'm going to use clamps to hold that together. So I decided to put a shelf on both sides. Then I pulled out the saw, put a miter on some red oak to hide the end grain on that shelf. And it was just a happy accident that it was the perfect size for my push block. So now I needed to cut the pieces that would enclose the sides and also provide some support for those sides. So I cut some thin strips and then I cut the actual pieces that would enclose the top and bottom for the cabinet and for the portion where the table saw is housed. Now, for those of you that are wondering, yes, I'm using my rigid table saw to build a house for my Bosch table saw. But don't worry, the rigid gets to stay around. I do often go off-site and throw things in my truck, and I'm keeping the rigid just so I can do off-site jobs because she works just fine. Now this piece exceeded the capacity of my saw, so we just flipped it over and finished the cut. And the side is complete. It looks great. Now these thinner strips are going to provide some support once I brad nail them on the inside of the lower cabinet. And they will later give me something to attach to as I put a shelf in there. And that's what those strips look like. They help support the side walls. Now, the material I used for the upper portion was much thinner and much easier to work with. I actually just stapled it from the inside. And now I needed to work on the shelf for the opposite side. I had completed the one on the right side, but had yet to start on the left. Now the support has been put in place with brad nails and glue. And then the shelf that was just freshly cut was put in place using my persuader. And again, using red oak to hide the end grain on the plywood. That's gonna work. So as with the other side, a little glue, a couple of brad nails. There won't be anything on here that weighs a great deal, so it doesn't have to be super strong, but definitely this will be strong enough. So clean up. On to the next. So things don't slosh around when the table is being moved. I put these rails on here, and you'll see later, one is not enough. But with that said, it is round over time. On both sides. Now, if you've noticed, on the left side of the table saw, there's a larger gap than there was on the right. I decided that was going to be a great location for some storage. However, because I like things neat and clean, I wanted to put a door there. So I grabbed a piece of wood, measured out the right size that I needed, looked through my supply of leftovers, found a couple of hinges, and decided to make a small door. Now again, the hinges weren't designed for this particular job, so I needed about a washer's width to make it fit and clear when it was closing. So I pulled out a little stay glue, some accelerator, and applied a washer to the hinges. And as you'll see shortly, it was just what I needed. Use the old playing card trick to give me some clearance. Attach the hinges. And it works. However, it needed a stop block so that it would stop where I wanted it to. Much better. Gotta love that soft close. Now with that complete, it was time to stain and tie it all together. I just happen to like the way this wood looks when it's stained. Now, the only thing that's left open at this point is the back portion of the mobile table saw. So the top portion, I wanted to have a bit of a hatch that I could open, and the lower portion where the lower cabinet is will be sealed permanently once I put some backing on that. So I grabbed some wood that I had laying in my stash, sanded it down, stained it, and cut it to its approximate final size. While that piece was drying, I thought it'd be a good chance to stain the rest of the table saw. Now this is what it looks like now that it's been applied. It is cut perfect width-wise, however the length is not the final one. More sanding on the edge banding that's going to hide the open and exposed ends on the plywood. Time to apply that to the top. We're using glue and brad nails. Make sure we get plenty of glue on there. And put a 45-degree miter on the rear going around. If you ever need just a smidge of room on one of your clamps, take the boot off. It worked here. I use a little wood filler to help clean up some of those edges, so that way once it's all sanded down, it fills in nice and clean once it's stained. Put some tape so as not to have so much sanding once I clean up these edges. And again, this is a perfect location to use a little wood filler. And once that's cleaned up, that's going to look pretty nice. And of course, we have to use our round over. Definitely much better once that is all rounded over, and then once it's all stained and all matchy, it's gonna look pretty good. So now it's time to cut the rear hatch down to the proper length, now that I've determined what that's gonna look like. And we have a little scrap left over. We set that off to the side, not knowing at that point we will be coming back to that to use it for something else. So I had to put a 45-degree angle on the top so that when I opened it, it was clear to the back of the table. And this is what will be the cover for the bottom portion where the cabinet is at. Once that's all stained up, that's going to look pretty nice. And I just couldn't pass this up. So now we're staining where we made our fresh cuts and putting on our second coat. And now we're staining what is going to be the rear of the lower cabinet. And while these pieces are drying, I'm going to step over and put some stain around the top. So now we're gonna put the lower portion on and close that lower cabinet. Fits like a glove. Just use some brads around the edges. There's a small gap right there. Most people wouldn't bother, but that is gonna bother me to no end. So I'm gonna fill that in. And I didn't want to see that daylight. So I cut a small strip. Countersunk some holes in that piece. Using my trusty vise. And then I attached it so that once the hatch door is put back up there, you would not be able to see inside. And that's just a design choice of mine. I think it's a much cleaner and more complete look. Yes, it's shop furniture, but it's my shop furniture. It's got to be nice. Perfect. So at this point, she's looking complete, but something's missing. The cabinet's kind of deep. I should be able to pull something out. Sits kind of high. That's some wasted space. I remember walking past something in the other garage. That's some inspiration. So this is the piece that we cut off of the upper hatch door. I will use these to support the pullouts for the slide out tray that will wind up below the table saw. Drill holes to countersink to mount it in the rear. And I chose to use dowels and glue to mount it in the front. And yes, it will be plenty strong. So do the same thing to the other side. And the reason I didn't want to put a screw in the front is because you can see this from the front. And again, I don't like a lot of visible screws. Personal preference. So this piece was actually left over from the Ultimate Workbench build. It will wind up being the tray for the lower half, whereas the keyboard tray I showed you earlier will be the pullout for the cabinet. And the desk that the keyboard tray came from, you'll see that in a video for my miter saw station. Full of surprises. So at this point I need to make a cutout for the dust hose from the table saw. Fairly clean cut. Now this is the concept I'm going for. Drawer slides are already in place. Now we take what was once a leftover piece of furniture that was on its way to the trash. We sand it down, give it new life. And in the blink of an eye, we get ready to stain it. And we're ready for install. And that worked. At this point, I came back and put a little extra stain on everything, cleaned it up, and it's ready to be put back on its feet. So, what was once a keyboard tray will now be the pull-out tray in the lower cabinet of my mobile table saw. Of course, we've got to sand it down, break the seal so that the stain adheres, so that it matches everything else. We finish installing our hardware. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I have got to stop thinking I'm young. This thing is kind of heavy. So this is what we wound up with. We have a pull-out tray in our cabinet and a low-level area to store things below the table. Okay, what I'm doing now is creating the side rails. This is going to be put on the side so that items don't fall off when I'm rolling the cart back and forth. So I'm going to put a round over on this. I'm going to sand it down, put some stain on it, and then I'm going to attach it to the table saw. So let's get to that round over. So this side will be facing inward. You will never see it, so I'm not worried about getting the burn marks off on that one piece. They will never see the light of day. Okay, now it's time for install. So I like to grab an arbitrary block of wood or something to figure out the height. So I'm going to put it right about there because I think that looks good. I'm going to just use a couple of brad nails to hold this in. And now it's time to put miter slots in my freshly completed top. Yes, that was painful, but it's necessary. So for this, you want to take small bites. Once I found out the width that I needed, which is slightly larger than the bit that I'm using, so I have to do it in a couple of passes. But depth-wise, you just want to take small bites of the apple and just work your way down till you get to your desired depth. So you're gonna make a couple of passes, working your bit lower and lower till you get to your desired depth. And I kept this portion in here because we don't talk about cleanup enough. Whether you're filming or you're just doing it on your own, no one talks about the cleanup that's done between each task. So this is what I would be doing whether I'm filming this or not. So I just wanted to talk about that. Now let's get back to the task at hand. So like I stated earlier, the width that I needed was a bit more than my blade. So I made a determination of just how much that was. So I'm just double checking so that I don't overdo it. You want it to be nice and snug. So it was a real fine amount. So I started by just putting a few pieces of tape on there so that it would push the router over just a bit to give me what I needed. You really want to try to sneak up on those cuts so that they remain tight. Otherwise you get too much slop in there. So I made a pass, double checked it. And again, with the depth, you want to go a little deeper, little cleanup. And you want to be slow and careful. And then I made the determination that what I needed was a 1/16 setup block, and that would give me exactly the width that I needed. So after making that adjustment, I prepared for my final pass. The depth was already set, so I just needed to carefully make one final pass, and it should fit perfectly. Voila. So now that I had one side dialed in, the other side was a little quicker. So wash, rinse, repeat. You do this to the other side. Again, I just wanted to illustrate that you take several bites, lowering your bit with each pass until you achieve the desired depth. Now this side was a little quicker because I did all the hard work on the first side. And as you can see, passes right through. And this again is just a test to make sure everything lined up straight. And there you have it. And of course, now that we've made fresh cuts, it's time to stain once again. Gives us a chance to put a second coat on what we did earlier to match the fresh coat we're putting on right now. Now, what I hadn't anticipated when I first built my workbench was putting the slots into it, but that too was a necessary evil. And this went a little quicker, one, because we're working with the MDF and I had already dialed in the depth and width that I needed by cutting into the table saw. So now if I needed to build a sled or whatever, I'd be able to just pass it straight through without any problems. And there we have it. Again, same thing for the other side. Now that we have it all dialed in, this goes a little quicker. We're just working our way down incrementally with each pass until we reach our desired goal. Now with that all done, of course, it's time to stain once again. And as you saw in the prior video, MDF sucks up stain or anything you put on it very quickly. So it takes several passes, several coats to get this to the desired color. But the beauty of having the shellac on the top is, even though I'm spilling over with the stain, it's gonna wipe right off, which was by design. Reapply. Touch up a little bit more. Gotta be thorough. And she's turned out pretty nice. So this is what it looks like. I was able to use the back for storage as well. I have all my plugs and hooks hidden in the back. As you can see, some of the supplies that I keep on the side. Little handle to open the hatch. You have access to the dust port. You can use it for storage and access what you need to from the back. And this is how it will attach to the outfeed table. Just roll it up, drop the wheels, and close the latches. This is just an overhead shot of how everything lines up. Just a different angle. What was important was that I got the width and the height correct when you do something like this. Those are the important parts, and it seemed to work out. As we prepare to close out this build, let's take one last look at our functionality. We have storage on this side, our lower cabinet. We have our pull-out tray with plenty of storage for tool bags or whatever, not sponsored. Below that, we have storage for extra blades or anything else you want to keep down here that's at a lower profile. Try not to waste any space. Have a stop block for when I'm rolling the cart around. You don't have to worry about that drawer popping open. And turned out quite nice. Alrighty, thank you for hanging in there. I really do appreciate it. So as you can see, that build took place over a number of months. It was a windy winter when I started. It was in the middle of summer by the time I ended. And that's only because I'm a busy guy. So I really do appreciate your viewership. I appreciate your support. And if you enjoyed this video or gained anything from it, please like, subscribe, or comment and share. Until next time, I'll see you on the next one.